Asynchronous. Historically, communication has been asynchronous. In former times, news was disseminated in a slow and inefficient manner. Individuals had to wait to receive a paper copy of the news as it was dropped on the porch each morning. This is an archaic way to ingest day-old news. Anything of interest in a newspaper has already been sent around the world a dozen times and is old news before it's printed. It takes literally hours for the printing and delivering process, thereby only compounding the problem, meaning we all have to wait to learn about current events. With television news broadcasts, viewers can have access to news in a more timely manner and can still see today's top stories at the end of each day. However, these stories are still hours old and aren't really news by the end of the day. Also, most local news stories are only broadcast at peak times, maybe 5:30 or 11, and the user or audience needs to wait until the station begins the broadcast. I'll get a current news story tweeted to me during the day with the same story on the evening news and see someone read about it the next day in the newspaper. By that time, if it's a story that's been of particular interest to me, I've been able to read it from multiple perspectives and engage in an online dialogue with others about it. By the time the newspaper hits my neighbor's porch the next morning, I've probably already made up my mind about the topic and discussed it to my satisfaction. In fact, by the time it's news, I'm sick of it and ready for the next thing to come along. Information can now travel faster than anything on Earth. In fact, tweets about a recent earthquake were sent around the world faster than the physical shocks of the earthquake itself. It was possible for news of the earthquake to reach out faster than the physical shocks. My school has really only existed for 8 years. During the infancy of the program at CBE Learn, the majority of the communication was asynchronous. This continues to be the standard as teachers and students communicate via email or discussion postings. We've begin using more synchronous tools over the past 2 years, and this will continue to be expected in the fall. Currently, we use Illuminate to host webinars or virtual tutorials with students and staff. This has been a significant change in the way we communicate with students and provide some direct instruction. It's a synchronous tool, and therefore brings us closer to how a traditional school environment is run. It took time for our school staff to realize how we could incorporate synchronous learning in our virtual environment. It wasn't a natural fit for the environment we were accustomed to. Truthfully, we have some ways to go with this technology being used in our school. We've made a lot of progress over the past 2 years, but there will be a few more stumbling blocks before it's the standard practice at CBE Learn. The author asserts that learning in the classroom of the future is neither confined by space nor time. But what does this have to do with the classroom of the future? That's my current reality. Education doesn't reside in one place or time, and we need to take advantage of current and emerging technologies to help bring the future to the present day. Although I currently work and teach in a virtual environment, I see significant need for a more blended model. I believe that students would be best served in a model that takes the best aspects from traditional teaching methods and best practices from online teaching. I think it's taken time for our school to adequately realize this change, and we're starting to make more adjustments. I think it's been important that our school has been permitted to grow as a purely online school, so our teachers and administration have a stronger understanding of what an online school can and cannot be. We've taken 8 years to create the very best online school, and now it's time to use that knowledge and disseminate to the rest of the school board, so every school can take advantage of the lessons we've learned. Next school year is going to be a year of significant change, as CBE Learn embarks on a number of new pilot projects in conjunction with other high schools in the CBE. One of the projects is going to involve a CBE Learn teacher working out of another high school, teaching a specific group of students. This will be different from the work I was involved in a few years ago because I never taught a class. This teacher will be offering 30-1 to a full class of students at this Calgary high school. Her students will meet with her at various points throughout the week, and she'll very rarely have all 30 students in her class at the same time. Students will meet with her in class at least once a week, but will continue their studies asynchronously online during the rest of the week. Students have already been identified from the administration at that high school and fit a very specific profile. They're all students who want to take English 30-1 in their final semester of high school and haven't been able to so far because they've been in the 30-2 stream. The high school's current class sizes and teaching complement does not permit these students to take their English 30-1 course in class, so these students have typically been sent to CBE Learn. By identifying there are enough students to fill a whole class, the administration of the two schools were able to meet together and come to a mutually beneficial agreement. The CBE Learn teacher will be using the curriculum and lessons she's familiar with, but will be teaching in a completely different environment. Like me, she's never taught in a face-to-face classroom, but it's one of the most competent and professional educators I've ever worked with. Her knowledge and skills in the subject area, English, and delivery method, online, will be a significant asset to the students of this project. This partnership has no precedent, but truly reflects a significant change in the way high schools will be run in the CBE. This is just a small pilot in one school, but it has a lot of potential to highlight the work that we've done to understand our online learners and provide them with the most personalized experience. We'll also work with the other high school staff and show them in the ways that we've tackled this complicated problem, in hopes of them being able to implement some of the online pedagogy we've learned over the past years. Truly, the future the author speaks of will be here sooner than she realizes.